In this video, Vampire Covenants will batter Daemon Legions. I am Alex, and you're watching Winterwolf Miniatures. Welcome back to another battle report for 9th Age Fantasy Battle. That's the game I enjoy playing the most and try to play as often as I can. Not as often as my friend Manne though, who really keeps his dice hot. If you have seen one of my battle reports before, you've probably seen him before as well. I have more people in my gaming group and I play other opponents too from time to time. The reason you don't see them in these videos are a few. Some of them I play so rarely that when I do, I want to just enjoy the game. Some of them have unpainted armies, but I want to bring you the very best of miniature gaming. And some of them might just be shy. Manne, on the other hand, is not very shy, and has a few nicely painted armies. As this match is being played, we are just home from Wettcon Jönköping. It was a great weekend, and I had a blast. We were 18 people there for the 9th Age tournament. Some known faces and some new, at least to me. Having had my arse handed to me all winter by Manne, I went to the tournament with one goal in mind. To be annoying. I made a infantry heavy Vampire Covenant list and tried to be as annoying to shooting factions as I could. I didn't think I would place any good, and I didn't. In fact, I was second to last, but seeing the will dying in an opponent's eyes as you raise all the casualties from his last shooting phase makes it all worth it. I got to play Rickard in my first game. He's a clubmate, so that's a bit of a bad luck. What's worse is that the bugger always wins when we face each other in tourneys. This time was no different. Second match, I got to play Nils and his ogres. If you saw my last video from a tournament, you might remember I did that then and lost 20-0. Well, this time it was not that bad. I got 1 point. But after those 2 games, I got to play 3 new opponents. And as usual, it was 3 great chaps. All those games were very fun. I enjoy playing Nils as well, but I don't particularly like ogres. In the end, I had 3 losses, 1 draw and a win. Rickard and Kudis, my clubmates, were hugging each other in the middle, at 10th and 11th place. Kudis on top with 3 points, and Manne placed second, with his lizards. That's very well done. Having played the tournament with a slow infantry list with quite low damage output, I changed that around for this game. I'm still playing Vampire Covenants, but I've made a fast list. The Vampire is a pure character slayer with his weapon of super I will kill you stats, Cursed Medallion and Mesmerizing Gaze. A unit of Barrow Knights will escort him to where he needs to be. Hopefully. 2 Varkolax and a unit of Vampire Knights will accompany him. Barrow Guards with a Barrow King for something hard the opponent can get stuck to for a while, and the rest is just there to do whatever it can to help. Manne is playing demons, and he has the Omen of Savar, so he also has a character hunter. I really hate the Blazing Glories, and he have 2 of those, and since I'm the master of rolling ones to hit, Mirrored Scales is a bitch. The Maw of Akaan is the general, and after we deployed I chose him as my target with Cursed Medallion. His shooters, the Eidolons and the Imps, will be a problem for my Varkolax and Vampire Knights, so I'll have to try to take care of them as soon as possible. We have a live audience today, in the form and shape of Jakob. In fact, it is Jakob. He was kind enough to place the terrain. We rolled for deployment and secondary objectives and got encircle and breakthrough. Manne got to choose sides and quickly chose the good side, or the side without a building blocking the middle of the deployment zone, that is. As he also chose to be the attacker, he left me with very little room. We took turns deploying 1 unit each for a while until Manne dropped all going for first turn. Being left with no real room for my vampire and his escort, I wasn't at all pleased with my deployment. When I started taking pictures here, we have started with the vanguard moves. Manne won the roll-off and we're going first. My right flank is full of crap and I have to quickly establish my control over this side and sweep towards the middle if I want to have anything to say about this game. Demon's turn 1. He basically just moved the whole army up. He immediately sees my crammed side and moves 1 Blazing Glory up to my face, blocking my movement quite badly, leaving me little choice but to charge it or back up. So magic and its flux card 1. He gets Hand of Heaven off on the Varkolak even though I tried to dispel it. It's a d6 hits with a d6 strength, and he got 6s at both. So the Verkolak took 3 wounds, then he got a Spear of Infinity off as well, and I failed to save it with a roll of 3. So he did. These guys shoot at the ghosts, and these guys shoot at the ghouls, but nothing happens. Vampire's turn 1. I charge his Blazing Glory, not really afraid of it, thinking my vampire is faster. On 4 up to hit, I might not kill it, but at least I can wound him severely, getting its offensive and defensive skill down, before it can hit me back. A couple of wounds, and then I'll break it with all my static combat score. The next turn I might then be charged by the second Blazing Glory, but it will be fine. And at least I will be rid of those. The rest of the army moves up a bit. Manne is not showing any fear, but I'm sure it's in there somewhere. And Jakob is making bets with himself on the situation. Probably. I cast Whispers of the Veil on these guys, my way of saying back off, and Ancestral Aid on my guys, my way of saying I really mean it. Sadly, no zombies for me to block the other Blazing Glory, which as it turned out I needed. 5 attacks with Vampire hitting on 4 up, and it's 0 hits. Wonderful. The Blazing Glory got 1 on the Vampire, lost the fight with 2, banner, charge and a rank, but also passed its leadership test, so no crumbling. I reformed to get at least a bit further away from the other Blazing Glory, but it would probably not be enough. Demon's turn 2. The Blazing Glory charges, and the Maw of Akaan charges the ghosts. I didn't think he could get in there, and he probably couldn't before I reformed. The toads charge the zombie with the necromancer. All charges are successful, and the Omen of Savar moves up by itself to be annoying behind enemy lines, and the rest of the army pretty much stays in place. I fucked up my deployment, having some issues with that bloody house in the middle, and I fucked up my first turn even worse. So when all these charges was successful, I threw in the glove. The end. That's the world's fastest battle report. I don't see me turning this game to a win from here. So I did call it, but I had drinks. So you don't break my spirit that easily. So we played on. Do you wanna see the rest of the battle? Well, go ahead and hit like then, and let's see if I can at least try to turn this around. He tossed Ancestral Aid on the Maw of Akaan and Cleansing Light on the Toads. These guys took a shot on the Vampire Knights, making 3 wounds. Ouch. The Necromancer was eaten, as was 7 zombies. That means 10 more crumble and 3 remain. Perfect. He will be loose on my turn, getting a free reform, and then he can charge anywhere he wants. And he of course reforms so I can't see him with my other zombies. Turns out that the Maw of Akaan is not only fat, he's also a pretty decent ghostbuster, eating 3. But there are 4 dead, you might think. Yeah, that's right, striking back, my remaining 2 ghosts made 1 wound on the Maw, but also hit themselves due to mirrored scales. The vampire failed to wound the glory again. This time I did hit a few attacks but failed to wound them. The other Blazing Glory killed a couple of knights, and after crumble I had only 3 left. Vampire's turn 2. I charged my Vampire Knights in there to help, with at least static combat score, and in the magic phase I managed to get a rise of healing both the Vampire Lord and the wounded Vampire Knights, as well as raise a couple of Barrow Knights. Here's my roll. 17. Haha! I also got some zombies out, blocking here. The ghouls turned to face the big fat guy, and the Banshee, who we at this point had named Karen, yelled at the Maw of Akaan for some reason. The Barrow Guards turned in the other direction, towards the Omen of Savar and those toads, or hoarders as they are. The latter killed the last zombies and reformed, to look at my Verkolak. I put it down there as a distraction. Manne checked the distance and let me know it was a good plan, but that I was too close. I said he wouldn't go for it if I was further away, so I needed to be that close. I then told him I wasn't afraid of some bloated amphibians. He called me an idiot, and then I might said some things, and before long we were both outside, bare-breasted, settling our dispute the old-fashioned way in the snow. No, none of that happened. Here is a picture of 2 ones, but I can't for the life of me remember what they was for. Something important, obviously, because I took a picture of them. They were probably the 2 wound rolls with the vampire after 3 misses. That seems plausible since I did no wounds this round either. But the glory that was in the duel did 1, and the one that wasn't made 4. That means I lose combat with 2 points. That would have meant that the vampire had been dead right about now if the vampire knights wasn't there to lend their support with the 3 static points. So I was lucky there. Demons turn 3. The Omen of Savar and the Morph Akaan charges the ghouls, and the Myrmidons charges the bats. I was too close again. My range game was really off at this match. It's like I don't have any idea how fast these guys are. Wait, I have no idea how fast these guys are. Well, that explained, let's move on. The Toads charge the Verkolak, and is also successful. Some spells here and another one there, and it makes no difference at this point. The shooters shoot some Barrow-guards, 2 of them to be precise. The Verkolak's 5 strength 6 attacks with hatred should do, I don't know, I was too tired then, and I'm too tired now to calculate that. But according to my field test, it's 2 wounds. The Toads made 1 back, which means I lose the fight with 1. Crumble 1, but get that wound back with my vampiric roll. The ghouls are of course screwed, but can they do something about the fat ass before they go? They got poison attacks after all. When it was my turn to strike back, I had lost a bunch, but still had 24 attacks I could allocate to the maw. I have no pictures of this because in the excitement and bloodlust you easily forget to take pictures, and I believe this was the point I had my camera battery on the charger. I have only 1 battery for that camera, and it's crap. Support the channel by becoming a patron, and I can afford to buy a new one. No, I'm just kidding. In the end, I made 1 poison. That is 1 6 out of 24 rolls. Not shockingly, the amount of ones were higher. 9 to be exact. In the end, I killed like 5 or 6 of my own guys and put only 2 wounds on them all. Then the ghouls crumbled to dust. Fearing they would soon lose me as a patron, the dice gods decided to throw me a bone, and the vampire lord suddenly killed the blazing glory. 5 hits, 5 wounds, 5 unsaved wounds. Dead. Seeing how happy that made me, they decided to pay me back for years of neglect, and I also got my vampiric roll of 6+ in, healing my vampire lord to full health once again. The alive blazing glory killed the last knight. He passed his discipline test, allowed me to reform first. I turned to face him and moved closer to the ruin, opening up some space for my vampire knights. He passed his discipline test again and followed me, but turned to face the vampire knights. I didn't take that bait, having learned my lesson with the first glory, and charged the fat ass instead. I decided to also have a go on this flank. If I was to turn this game around, I have to get to his deployment with my zombies. And if I can get all of these charges in, there was a slim chance of that happening. But unfortunately, only 1 zombie block made it. And the wolves failed on a 6, which means they just moved dangerously close to the weird guys over here. And the weird guys is clawed fiends. I got a rise off with a good roll and raised another vampire knight. That's another 3 attacks on the charge. Excellent. The Verkolak killed the Toad champion, but was then sadly lost. So time for the vampire charge. You can't really miss that huge heap of lard I proclaimed as I rolled my dice. And I was right, 8 hits out of 10 on a 4-up roll. And better yet, no ones. So no hits on myself, 2 up, 2 wound, and only 1 failure. And the Maw signed up for the biggest loser and left. A long overrun, and I caught these guys as well. The way the terrain were placed here means I could maximize models in combat, but only by standing over here, making the shooters countercharge possible and close. The vampire lord made 2 wounds on the glory and took 1 back. The zombies died. Demons turn 4. The Myrmidons charged the zombies, and the weird dudes charged the wolves. The shooters charged the knights, and the Omen of Savar charged the Barrow guards. He got cleansing light on the Omen and shot some zombies in the far right corner. With crumbling, there were now only 5 wolves remaining. The Myrmidons killed all but 1 zombie. I left the best zombie I have, hoping he would sort things out. This zombie is usually really quick on its feet, and having a slight handicap, he is used to roll up his sleeves and elbow his way to where he needs to be. And he also got a really good head on those shoulders. and a mind for warfare. I could go on with the bad jokes, but I don't think the zombie could stomach more flattering. It's good sometimes to let your troops know that you got their back. The zombie lived up to his fame and single-handedly killed all the Myrmidons. No, of course not. The vampire made another wound on the glory, but the vampire knight was lost. The Omen of Savar killed the Barrowguard champion, no problem. Vampires turn 4. A fresh unit of zombies appeared, but that means no healing for the vampire knights. The Omen of Savar made only 2 wounds on the Barrow King, so I won combat, but the blighted thing passed his discipline test and is still unscathed. Another vampire knight was killed, making the last one crumble. Demon's turn 5, and he have had enough of the Barrowguards and charged it with pretty much his whole army. That should do it. Is that a zombie? Manne asked, and I said yes. Why? Is it over here? He asked, and I honestly said I didn't know. We decided that it should probably be with the other guys, and he moved his shooters in position. The things killed the wolves. His shooters, I think it's the Eidolons, is a conclave that has haste in the hour. He target my vampire and get it off. I have a 5-up Aegis save, and that zombie over there falls over with anticipation. Then the dice is rolled. It bounces and bounces and rolls some more, and then it finally comes to a stop, and the vampire is dead. So too is the Barrow King, and after crumbling, all but 3 Barrow Guards soon follow them. Vampires turn 5. We didn't bother to remove a Barrow Guard and 2 zombies due to ashes, and the zombies charges. These zombies are shot down, all except 3. And after he's done his attacks, only 1 zombie remained, and he didn't hit anything. The last Barrow Guards were killed, and the last zombies were removed since I no longer had any original troops on the battlefield. So there we have it, another one in the bag. If you watch this hoping to learn anything, you should do what Manne did, and try to avoid what I did. It wasn't my best game, this. The score, Manne got 4,490, all my army, plus the 200 for the general and the secondary. And I got 1,745. In hindsight, if we overlook the horrible deployment, I should have played it more cool in the beginning. Backed up and taking a new position, and then just do some sweeping attacks on the glory with my ghosts. On the left flank, maybe I shouldn't have moved forward that far. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.